Hello, I'm David Newell, but you might know me as the speedy delivery man, Mr. McFeely, on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and you're watching a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. It's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show and Speedy Delivery. I mean, roll it.
Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Join Jake and his friends on a journey through pop culture of the past, where they interview professionals in the worlds of acting, directing, writing, puppeteering, and so much more. Who will they be chatting with today? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this special episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Happy here with us. Thank you for joining. Of course, as always, I'm your host, Jake Duffenbaum. Today, of course, as always, our co-host, Chris Bixby. How's it going?
Doing good. Hello, everybody. How are you doing, Jake?
Doing great. As always, Chris. Thank you for asking.
Yes, we have a wonderful interview for you folks. It's a short one, but it's a fun one. We talk about a new special that is coming very soon, but I will not waste any more time. Jake, why don't you introduce our guests and kind of what the interview's about?
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much, Chris. So today's guest we have is the supervising producer on Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, Chris Loggins, and Kristin DiQuollo, who is a co-executive producer on Donkey Hodie. Uh, with both of them, we got to talk to them about the upcoming uh, crossover release that from Donkey Hodie episode that's going to be coming out on August 11th, which is it's going to be such a fun to watch it on release day that I'm sure a lot of you all will definitely. Today's conversation we have in this episode is one of the Donkey Hodie's upcoming episodes. Daniel Tiger visits someplace else. Yeah, something probably you all will know what it is now, according to how the episode title. So of course we got to talk to them, Kristin and Chris. So from their perspectives, again to be involved in both of those series to kind of combine into one for a collaboration that you're all about to see and release on August 11th, which I'm very excited for that indeed. So of course we got to talk about what it's like getting to collaborate for this wonderful project. How did the Daniel Tiger puppet kind of came to be from the animation world to the puppet world for this wonderful episode, and their thoughts about having the show combined to one. Who grew up watching the original series like we do, and of course getting to them talk about a little bit working with the wonderful Whatmans, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm sure. I hope you all will, whenever it's going to be released. I hope you all will check it out on local PBS station. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun talking about this. So without wasting any more time, enjoy our chat with Kristin and Chris. See you then. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this special episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Today I have with us is both Kristin DiQuollo and Chris Loggins. Welcome to Happy to have you here.
Happy
Thank
to
you.
be here. Thank
We're
you.
happy to be here.
Yes, delighted to have you.
Yes, exactly. Like what Chris said, delighted to have you both indeed. So now, so to start this off, so now, like, could you both introduce yourselves and kind of like briefly talk about your involvement in this, upcoming crossover that we'll be discussing today?
Sure. Kristen, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Kristin DiQuollo. I'm the co-executive producer of Donkey Hodie at Fred Rogers Productions and oversee all things Donkey.
Yes, and I'm Chris Loggins. I'm the supervising producer on Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood.
Nice. Awesome.
Wonderful.
So I guess starting off with you, Kristen, I guess kind of going back to the beginnings, how were you brought on to work on Donkey Hodie as a co-executive producer?
Yeah, I was brought on right after Greenlight. So to give you a little background, well, my role before this was executive producer of an animated series called Cyber Chase that's on PBS Kids. And I was at WMET New York, and there I worked with Ellen Doherty, who is now the chief creative officer at Fred Rogers Productions, and she had worked on developing Donkey Hodie. And when
Oh,
she
cool.
knew she wanted to make a show about Donkey Hodie, which was a character from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and that it should probably be puppets because that would be pretty cool, she reached out to Spiffy Pictures, and they came on to collaborate on developing and creating the show. And so they worked on a pilot, and they got the pilot greenlit with PBS Kids, and that's when I packed up my suitcases from New York and moved to Pittsburgh, and came on board.
Nice.
Wonderful to hear, Kristen. Wonderful. So now to you, Chris, a summary that we just kind of asked to Kristen. So how did you kind of begin working as a supervising producer on Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood?
I started on the show 13 years ago before it premiered. So that was back in 2012. I helped launch the show. I was brought on as a production manager. At the time, our company was quite small, especially like when you compare how big it is today. Um, we were probably like 12, 15 people office, and the company had produced Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood for many, many years until it went out of production. And then sadly, Fred also passed away. And Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood was the first show that the company did since Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I was brought on board to help with the day-to-day production of that. Previous to that, I was working in Pittsburgh for the local public television station, WQED. And Fred Rogers Productions was in that same building, sorry, at the time. That's where they filmed Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood for many years. And I got to know some of the people there. Also had an interest in working with children and families. In Pittsburgh, I worked with the Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh in the children's department and with an organization called Beginning with Books, Center for Early Literacy. So all of these things kind of came together and led me to this position with Fred Rogers Productions, working on Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. And I've since grown with the show over the years and now serve as the supervising producer.
Awesome. Awesome. So now, because, these characters originally came from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood for, both of these shows. Now, with the Don Quixote show and the Daniel Tiger show, what went into bringing both of those worlds together for this crossover?
Lots went into it, from story generation to building of the puppets to who performed the characters in the final. But to go back to the origins of it, we in season 2 of Donkey had started working to bridge the worlds between Don Quixote and Someplace Else and Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. We did that by introducing Trolley, and we also introduced Turtle Lou as a Speedy Delivery character. So Speedy Delivery now went to across all 3 series. And so as we were starting season 3, we were thinking about ways we could continue building and expanding our worlds. And it felt like a really great time to bring Daniel into Someplace Else and for him and Donkey to meet for the first time. And everybody was enthusiastic about that from the start.
Nice.
That's
From
wonderful.
there, yeah, from there and Chris, feel free to jump in whenever. From there, we started thinking about what kind of story would make sense for bringing these worlds together. And we hired a writer who's the head writer of Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, Jill Casa Turner. She's also written many, many episodes of Donkey, so she knows both worlds and both characters very, very well. And we knew that she would be a great person to help us tell this story, to bridge the 2 worlds. And then we worked very collaboratively the whole way through on what makes sense for Daniel, what makes sense for Someplace Else, and how do we bring the DNA of both of our shows into this really special and give fans of both shows on PBS Kids something really fun to look forward to.
Awesome.
Wonderful. That's great. So now, so of course, for the collaboration, of course, you can see, Daniel Tiger, and of course, and the dad, and is a puppet version for the collaboration. So I just wanted to ask, what's it like, having a puppet version of Daniel Tiger versus the regular animated version for this collaboratory episode?
Do you want to go, Chris? Want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll take that one. I think it's awesome. Like I've worked on Daniel, like I said, for so many years, started 13 years ago, and all that time I've seen, this little tiger on my screen in animation. So to see the t puppet come to life in a real physical space was really an amazing experience for me. I got to go to the set when the team was filming in Chicago. And it was really wonderful, getting to see Daniel there in this real physical space and actually getting to go over and give Daniel a snuggle. But a lot of went into that, beforehand, like before we got to that stage, like Kristen was saying, there was a lot of collaboration happening about, puppet design, puppet build, all of the work that went into getting those puppets ready, was a big endeavor.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, wonderful. Talk about, how the way they did it for the episode, how from both, Daniel and the dad, like, and look how they look in the puppetry style. It looks beautiful. Like the puppet, puppet builders and the wranglers did such an amazing job with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree. And a lot of credit goes to David Rudman at Spiffy Pictures, who
Oh yeah.
designed the puppet.
Yeah.
And our puppet builder who built them, Raleigh. It started with David sketching things out and saying, how do we make these characters look like they fit in our world, if fit in someplace else? And so we
Right.
worked in sketches to figure that out. And then from there, built out film mock-ups and then worked on things like fur color, fur length, sweater and texture and color. Dad Tiger has darker stripes than Daniel, like figuring out all of those really like detailed things to make those characters really resonate. And I know Chris has more to add, but I also don't want to forget to mention that this is the first time that Daniel has been in puppet form since the original Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood when he was
Yeah.
Daniel Striped Tiger, which is actually Dad Tiger, if we're true to the lore. The original Daniel Striped Tiger is now Dad Tiger. But yeah, first time, going back to their puppet form since then, which is pretty incredible. But Chris, do you want to speak more to like the puppet design process?
Sure. Yeah, I remember in the beginning seeing those sketches and giving our input from the Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood side of the way things should look, and like, getting little details like his watch and the way his tassels are on his hoodie just right. And from then after we saw the sketch, it was really fun for me to get fabric samples and swatches of fur and things. And I remember getting like maybe the first fur for Daniel, and it looked a little long to me. And so, we shared that with Kristen and her team, and they said, "Okay, no problem. We'll give it a little trim." And they gave the fur a trim somehow. I'm not a puppet builder. I don't know how that works, but they got it just right, and everything just looks so great on screen and in person. It's really impressive.
And then the performance of the characters was equally important. Everything about how we were writing the characters, designing the characters, and then performing the characters was critical. And so for performance, we had two amazing puppeteer Daniel and Dad on set. Dad Tiger is puppeteered by Frankie Cordero, who plays Purple Panda, Turtaloo, Gregory, Penguin Referee, many other characters, and also
Yeah, and of course Ruby on Sesame Street.
yes, of course, of course. And then Ryan Dillon puppeteered Daniel, and Ryan Dillon plays Elmo
Yeah.
in Sesame. And they were so thoughtful about paying attention to the nuances of the performance of the animated characters and how to bring those forward in puppetry. And we had the voice actors from Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood record reference dialogue for them before we filmed, so that they could just have a sense of how the actors might perform those lines to inform their performance on set. And then we did actually record with the Daniel and Dad Tiger voice actors from the animated series to voice the puppets,
Oh,
which
cool.
we did
Yeah.
after filming.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool. That's great. For having kind of like a collaboratory aspect, for having both those shows, and from some people, for even Ryan Dillon kind of come along to kind of be involved, for having Sesame Street people, and and all these people come to one for this, episode. I think that's a beautiful thing for y'all collaborate such a great way to make the final edit of the episode. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it was, and I think we felt that. I think everyone felt that all the way through. Everyone felt that this was
Oh
really
yeah, for sure.
special, and everyone treated it with such care and consideration. And on set, there was such a great energy when we were filming because everyone knew how special this was. Many people on our crew have kids whose kids are fans of Daniel Tiger. So, to see Daniel and Dad come to life before their eyes was equally cool for them. Like Frankie, who plays who puppeteered Dad, his daughters watched Daniel. He was like, and he had questions. He was like, I think Dad would do it this way. He would ask Chris on set if to like nail certain things about Dad's performance to match the animated character. That was really fun.
Yeah, it was
That's awesome.
great to see how invested everybody was in making this happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, now what are your thoughts about these two shows coming together for not just the fans who are, watching those shows right now, but also fans like us who grew up with the original Mr. Rogers characters? So, like, what are your thoughts about like that?
Well, I hope everybody finds it exciting. I hope it's like something that people will hear about and want to, get the family and friends together to watch. And Kristen and I, are often thinking about, because these shows are all connected, like someplace else, was from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. The neighborhood of Make Believe was in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and now we're carrying that forward, in Donkey Hodie and Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. So the opportunity to bring all that together and kind of like have it meet up in a way that makes sense and also has a great story and message. Was really rewarding, and hopefully the fans will find it entertaining and fun and happy as well. Kristen, what would you add?
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. And also that this special includes things that if you watch the original Mr. Rogers, you're going to see elements in this special that you recognize. For instance, the Look and Listen song is a Fred Rogers song, and that's the song that Daniel and Donkey sing over and over again in the show. Um, but
Yep.
but there's also these wonderful messages of meeting someone new and how do you meet someone new, which can be a little tricky and a little hard. And that's where we came up with the song Ask Lots of Questions, because that can help you break the ice, is to be curious and to share more about yourself. And then
Right.
as they're on their adventure, they're singing the Look and Listen song. And at the end,
Yeah.
there's this beautiful moment where they don't want to say goodbye. And it's hard to say goodbye when you're having a good time. So we offer a little something for that too, which is that Daniel and Donkey think of saying he hugga mugga to each other and say they'll see each
Yeah.
other again soon.
Oh, so cute.
So, the fabric of what inspires both of our series, which is what was the fabric of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, is in this special on many levels.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. So I know we kind of like touched base a little bit with David Rumman earlier. So of course, the show was created by longtime children's TV creators, both with the Rummans, David and Adam. So can you kind of like talk about, what it was like, getting to collaborating with them in general
Yeah,
throughout the
totally.
whole show?
Yeah. Um, they're wonderful. Everyone at Spiffy are wonderful partners. They're really exciting people to work with and just really fun people to work with. Thoughtful, creative, um, always thinking about new ways we can do things. And one of the things that I love, I think Adam is the one who has said this many times. And I work very closely with Adam, who's the head writer of the show also, as we script every story. So in on the pre-production side of things, Adam and I work very closely, and then David directs a lot of episodes. So through pre-production and post, work very closely with David on some stuff. But Adam and David both like to talk about Donkey as if it's a live action cartoon. And Adam's point of view when he's working with writers is that, like, if you have an idea, even if it doesn't seem attainable, just put it on the page and we'll figure it out. And then maybe sometimes we do have to change it. But I think that meant that, like, spirit of playfulness and that spirit of animation, but in a live action way, comes through in every episode. And that's so much of what makes Donkey Hodie unique, is that sometimes things just look like magic tricks. We film everything as practically as possible, and David is always aiming to get everything in camera and rely on VFX very little. And so much of what you see in this crossover is practical. Like there's a moment in well, you see the rainbow ball bouncing around Grampy's house.
Yeah.
We filmed Grampy's house, and then the art department painted those rainbow marks all over the house. And then we filmed the scenes where the rainbow marks are all over the house. Like that's all happening in real time in camera. That's not always stuff and then we added some little cute glowy effects in VFX, but like as a highlight. When Bob Dog is on the top of his ball looking for his house, looking for the rainbow ball, David Rudman is on a ladder behind that tennis ball house with his arm up, and Bob Dog filming that scene. So really, it's very magical to see it all come together, and their point of view on that has been great, and really has made Donkey what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course. So now, before we're going to start wrapping this up soon, and I'm kind of curious to those who wants to watch the episode, where can people find the episode?
They can find the episode airing on their local PBS station, for one, and it will also be streaming on PBS Kids and the PBS Kids video app, so you can watch it there. And I think it might also be on YouTube when it launches, starting August 11th. I think it might also be able to be found on YouTube. So there will be and Amazon Prime probably. So there's lots of ways that you can watch.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Looking forward to, episode finally be out to the world, and I hope, a lot of the newer fans of either of those shows who grew up watching the original series, will enjoy, watching this wonderful compilation, because I'm sure that so many, children, in this generation will probably want, need to have that special episode. So, and, so I'm sure it'll be such a huge, effect when it comes out.
Thank you. We hope so.
Thank you. I hope so. And thank you for telling people about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. So the last question that Chris is about to ask, we should ask every single guest towards the end. Go ahead, Chris.
Thanks, Jake. So this podcast is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When you think of nostalgia, what does it mean to you, or how would you define nostalgia?
Something that makes you feel warm and cozy inside from your memory, something that means something to you. That's my first off the cuff definition.
Love that.
Warm was the first word that came to
great.
my mind too, which is pretty funny. I think Chris and I are pretty in sync in that way. But for me, it's also something that like taps into an earlier version of yourself that you are wistful about, remember well, and want to keep remembering. I think the beautiful thing and why nostalgia is so huge is that it reminds us of a time when we were happy, when we loved something, felt good about something. And I actually think it's a really great tool for bringing those feelings up in tough times sometimes, to like think of times that make you feel good. So that's what I would say about nostalgia.
Great.
I'm
Of course,
trademarking
that's
that.
wonderful.
Nostalgia as a strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
There you go.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
I would add
Thanks
the
so
word
much.
familiar too. Something that's familiar to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes.
Great words to end on.
Sure, absolutely. Awesome. Well, Kristin and Chris, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. We had a wonderful time getting to speak about this upcoming crossover, and I'm looking forward to the release day, and I'm sure fans of
Me
Donkey
too.
Hodie and Daniel Tiger and also the original Mr. Rogers fans will enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes,
I'll
right.
Of course, glad we got to spread the word.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Okay,
Yeah, of
enjoy
course
the
you
rest of
too.
your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks again, you two. It was a lot of fun. It was
Bye.
great. Bye, you
Bye-bye.
two.
Bye. Yes, and it's goodbye from us as well, everybody. We absolutely enjoyed our time speaking with with two of the people behind the Donkey Hodie meets Daniel Tiger crossover. That is Kristin DiQuollo and Chris Loggins. Keep on the lookout for more wonderful interviews coming your way. Links to where you can find the crossover will be listed in the description down below. Remember, the crossover comes out on August 11th on PBS Kids, the PBS Kids video app, and anywhere else you
Yes,
can
keep
find
your
the
eye out on
episode.
that. Yes, keep your eye. Yes, exactly. Keep your eye on that release, everyone.
Yes.
It's gonna be great.
Yes. Well, until next time, it's goodbye from Jake and I. So keep on the lookout for more wonderful interviews coming your way. And as always, what do we say, Jake?
Yes, keep nostalgia alive together. Everyone, see you next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode. Be sure to follow Jake and the Happy Nostalgia team on social media, check out our website, and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember to keep nostalgia alive. Bye-bye.